Welcome to the Sugar Daddy Podcast, where we help you build a clear financial plan so you can feel confident and in control of your money. If you are an OG, welcome back. So glad to have you. And if you're new here, we're so glad that you chose today to listen to our podcast. This is going to be a special little mini series. We just got back from almost a month in Europe. And we're going to tell you all about it. And we're going to tell you a little bit about how much we spent. We went to 4 different countries across 4 weeks as a family of 4. So let's get into it.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Welcome to the Sugar Daddy Podcast, where we help you build a clear financial plan so you can feel confident and in control of your money. We are in the last leg of our European adventure.
The last leg and the longest part.
Yes, we were in Nuremberg, Germany, which is where I was born and raised. And so it was extra special to be able to bring my family, my husband, my kids, to the place where I grew up, where I still have friends, where I still have family. And it was just a big heart hug.
No, it was because the funny part is, even though you're from there, like I didn't do a bunch of research on Nuremberg.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, the only thing I knew of is like the Nuremberg trials. Outside of that, didn't really do any research on it.
And Nuremberg is known as a very beautiful city.
It is a very beautiful city.
And so we were like walking in one of like the main parts of downtown, and Brandon is like, "It's really pretty here." It's like, yeah, no kidding. Like there's whole books about it.
Yeah, I just didn't do any research.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll just get there and we'll do whatever.
It showed. But it was really special. We took the train from Amsterdam to Nuremberg. It was about 3-ish hours, give or take. And based on the recommendation of my Dutch friend, he said, get a first class seat. So we got first class. And I think it just gave us a little bit more space for our luggage. And it had air conditioning, even though it didn't feel like it had air conditioning. But overall, it was a very smooth ride, and it got us to Nuremberg. We stayed in a very popular area. We were within, 400 meters of like getting into downtown.
I don't know meters.
We were 3 blocks from downtown, and we were in a really great position to just walk around. We had stores right where we needed them. We had bakeries. We had everything we needed. Döner, which is very important. If you know, you know. And it was lovely. It was hot.
Yeah, once again, the heat wave and record highs while we were there.
And it was brutal. Again, our Airbnb did have air conditioning, which is great. It had it in our bedroom and the upstairs area. It did not have it in the living room, not in the kitchen, not in the bathrooms. So sometimes it felt like there wasn't any airflow, but at night, at least, we were cool. I will say, shout out to Brandon. We were on the 5th floor, no elevator, and he had to bring all the luggage up and down. And you hear 5th floor, and you're like, that's not bad. But at the end of the day, when you've already walked 15,000 plus steps and it's 100 degrees and you have no AC in the stairwell, at the end of the day, our kids would be like, this is the hardest part of our whole day. All right, we just got to get through it. And we'd all like give ourselves a pep talk because it was rough.
Yeah, it wasn't the ideal scenario of lugging, our four large suitcases and then plus my mom's up the stairs by myself.
Yeah, he was like, it was the first day when we got there. I was like, I'm so sorry. But, this is what I said, right?
That's why she brings me. She does the planning. She does all the planning. I carry the heavy things.
There are trade-offs, right? It's like you could have an elevator, but maybe not have AC. You could have no AC, but, have something else that you need. Like I prioritize AC over an elevator,
and also location.
And location.
Location was a big thing for us.
So unless you really want to spend an arm and a leg, you can't have an elevator and AC and prime location without a price tag. And again, when we booked this, there were not record highs. It was supposed to be, mid 80s at the peak of heat. And that's not what happened. So
it wasn't a big deal at the end of the day.
The Airbnb was, I thought, super cute. We
Hmm.
had kitchen, we had bathroom downstairs, our bedroom was downstairs, nice sized living room with a sofa that technically pulled out into a bed, and then you would go up a little spiral staircase, and you had a queen size bed in the loft that had an air conditioning unit, little hallway, really nice sized bath, a whole other like kitchenette area, and
And
a
living
living
area.
room, and then another room that had a curtain, not a door, where our kids slept. So we had plenty of space. We weren't on top of each other. I think, especially in a trip of this length, you do not want to be on top of each other. Like, you need space to spread
Yeah.
out.
And like the place was, like I said, the place was extremely nice, and it was very conveniently located to everything that we would need, even just simply, going across the way to get groceries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The subway and bus stations were real close.
Yeah. I mean, literally across the street,
Yeah.
the subway, which was so great. And then again, we're right at the beginning of downtown. And so we would come out of our apartment, take a right, walk 5 minutes, and you were like literally in the heart of downtown Nuremberg.
Yeah,
And it was
and
so
so
beautiful.
this was the longest part of our trip. So we were there for what, 9 days?
Yeah, I think 9 days.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was great because a lot of those days we spent with friends and family. We actually had friends come in from Poland. For those of you who've been around, you know that I worked in 2015. I opened an international office. I lived in Poland for about 6 months, and we still have friends from there. I went to Lisbon last spring, and they came to Lisbon. So I saw them last year, but Brandon hadn't seen them in a while. And so they came down, which was really nice. And
It
they
was the first
brought
time getting all the kids together.
Yes, they brought their kids. We had our kids. One of my other friends, she's technically Polish, but lives in a different state in Germany. Germany has 16 states, for those of you that don't know that. Fun fact. And so she lives in a different state than where I was born and raised. And she lives there with her son. And so they came, and it was just so nice. All of our kids
Yeah.
together. And yeah, even though, they don't speak the same language, like kids are kids and they will figure it out and they'll have a
Yeah.
blast, you
Because
know?
their kids, speak Polish, but don't really speak English.
Yeah.
Obviously, our kids don't speak Polish, but you figure it out.
You figure it out. They're fine. And it was so nice to have them together. And then I still have childhood friends there as well. And so it was really fun to do the things that I remember doing growing up. Like we took the kids to Playmobil Land, which I just remember as a core memory. Like if you know anything about Playmobil, I think it's a great toy for imagination, and our kids still play with the Playmobil that my brother and I had growing up. It's at my mom's house, and they will spend hours just building towns and cities, and they'll be like, here's the school, and here's the zoo, and here's the fire station. And so I really wanted to take them to Playmobil Land. They loved it. Again, it was 100 degrees. It was just brutal. Like
Yes.
we powered through, we did all the things, but it was very hot. It was
I would say at least there was a lot more shade.
There was
A lot more
good amount of
places to
shade,
sit in the shade.
and there was a lot of water activities that they
Yeah.
could do.
And
So
we went there with one of Jess's good friends
that
from
I've known since I was
that she
5 or
grew up with,
6.
and him and his wife have a daughter that's around Aston's age. Once again, she speaks German, doesn't really speak English. Aston, speaks English, but they played for hours and just
they
figured it
had a
out.
great time, and it
Which
was
is
just so
amazing about
nice.
kids. Like that's one of the things that's so amazing about kids is like you take kids that typically can't communicate in the same language,
Mhm.
and they just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like if adults could be more like that.
The language of play is
Yes.
universal,
Yes.
So it was just that really just was so special to me to like bring our families together, and you look at each other and you look across the table at your friend that like I remember Sebastian and I like the first movie we watched together in the theater was Lion King, which when did that come out? Like
I was in 5th
91?
grade when that came out.
Okay. But like to think, and now we're sitting here with our spouses and our kids, and like it's just so nice, And so it was just really special to do those things. We saw my godparents and my cousins, and
And this is my first time meeting that entire side of the family. I had never
yes.
met any of her, her out because her mom is the only one that moved to the U.S. So everybody else was still in Germany. I had never met any
Yeah,
of them.
my uncle, my aunt is still there, my godparents, my cousins. And so it was just a really nice time. So we got to spend the day with my godparents. They live in a multi-generational house that,
Which is very interesting to start to see like
yeah,
the difference in how like families live together in other places
Mhm.
compared to the US.
Yes. And so my cousin, her and her family, have the top 2 floors, and then my godparents are on the bottom floor. And in the basement, they actually have a swimming pool, which was great, so the kids got to
Yeah.
swim, and our
Like a
kids were
little
like,
indoor
"What? You have a
pool.
pool in your house?"
Because I
So
think they said the house was built in, what, 1973?
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just and my godmother's in-laws, built the house, like, from scratch. And so it's just a really special place. Again, nobody has air conditioning in their homes.
Yeah, that was the one thing. No air conditioning,
So you're
so
like sitting, I remember we went to the Greek restaurant in town and we were all just like sweating.
yeah.
Like we were eating
You
lunch
just
and we
kinda
were
like it is what it
just,
is.
you're just sweating, you're uncomfortable, it's not cute. And you're just like, how have they not figured out how to put like an air conditioning unit in this place yet? It's just so ridiculous.
Or at least just fans
Yeah.
to at least move the air some.
Oh, and I almost forgot. We, so my my godparents live like outside of the city, and so we took the train to get closer. You know where I'm going with
I know
this.
exactly where you're going.
We took the train to get closer to their part of town so that they would come and pick us up, so they wouldn't have to drive all the way into the city. Anyways, got on the train, everything's fine. Brandon goes to the bathroom on the train. And basically, long story short, we're at our stop.
Well,
He's
one, I thought we had one more stop to go before we were getting off, and I said to her, I was like, "Oh, we have one more stop to go," and she was
and
like,
I
"Yes."
agreed because I was yeah. So that was incorrect. That was our stop. And so I see my cousin, she's there with her daughter, and they're like waving and excited to see us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Brandon's in the bathroom. What do we do? So I basically shoved the kids off the train. And I'm like, go with Tanya. It's fine. And so I stay on the train because obviously I wasn't going to just leave Brandon. And
I
so
mean, you also could have just called me. We had our phones and said,
well,
"Hey, Brandon, get off at the next stop."
it would have
I'd be
it
like,
was better
"Okay."
that we were together. So anyways, we get off at the next stop. My cousin Tanya drives to the next stop, but instead of going over the bridge to get to the train station because there was no signage that's like train station this way, we go up this massive hill.
I would like to point out that I said that we should probably go over the.
He did. And I was so irritated that I was like, no, we're just going to go this way. And so we went up the hill and I was just like drenched in sweat afterwards. And I was so ticked off. And I was like, this is all your fault. I'm so angry. And again, it was a bajillion degrees. And so anyway, everything was fine. She found us. I dropped a pin. But I'm like, all of this in the heat, we did not need this. We did not need the massive hill in the heat.
You know
Anyway.
me, I'm a kind of, it happened.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, we got to just do what we got to do." And I
Yes.
was annoyed. Sometimes when he's that nonchalant about things too, then I get even more annoyed because I'm like, I want you to be just as annoyed as I am right now, and this is your fault because
Yes.
you just had to go and pee because you couldn't hold it. Anyway,
Next.
so Germany was great. We spent $2,118 on our Airbnb. I think for the time.
Yeah, because we were there for a significant amount of time.
For the time and what we got for space wise. And I mean, it was so cute. It was really nicely done. I think that was great value, especially for the location, for
Yeah.
the size and location and the amount of days. I think it was 8 nights,
Yeah.
maybe. I think it was a great value. Would highly recommend. The owners were very communicative. One of the air conditioning units upstairs was dripping water, and so we let them know, like, it was still pumping out air, which we were grateful for, but you had to put a towel in a bowl underneath, and they had it fixed a few days later, and communication was great, so highly recommend. But Nuremberg, Germany, if you've never been, it is a wonderful city, lots of history. It's very walkable, especially when it's not 100 degrees. It's very beautiful, and it's a good, like, central point where you could easily go. You can go to Munich quickly. You can get to Frankfurt pretty quickly. Like, you can hop on a train and get to lots of different places without much effort, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because like I said, once again, part of this trip was like, hey, where could we potentially move to overseas? And obviously, one of the places we wanted to check out was, because it'd be the easiest, would be Germany, because the kids and Jess both have dual citizenship, so that'd be a lot easier of a move. And there was a lot of things that
And
like
I speak the
yes, of
language,
course.
and we have friends and family there. So,
Yes.
you
It'd be
know,
the easiest place to move to at
yeah,
least start out bare
right,
minimum.
to see where we would want to be. I think our daughter's very motivated to learn German. They loved it there. I think too, you think about if you make a pros and cons list, like even if the pros, quote unquote, outweigh the cons of making such a big international move, you still realize you're giving up your community. You're giving up your friends and family. And so to move somewhere where I'm not saying that we would get together with my friends every single weekend because everybody's busy, they all
Yeah,
have
because we don't do
family.
that here in the US.
Right,
So,
but at least you have people
yes.
that you could rely on, you can tap on the shoulder, you can ask for support, ask for help, recommendations. I think that does help.
And I also think that it was very easy when, like, for myself and the kids meeting all those people and family for the first time, it didn't feel like the first time. Like, after a few minutes, it felt
Yeah,
fine. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like these people still feel like strangers. Like, no, like after like, 30 minutes, didn't feel like strangers at all.
yeah. Yeah, it was really nice. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that the kids got to meet my uncle and my aunt, and we ended up flying out of Munich because, again, points and miles, and we did not have typically, I like to
Well,
fly
while
Lufthansa.
we're so while we were in Nuremberg,
Mhm.
like some of the things we did, like we did walk up to what's
The
that castle?
castle, the Imperial Castle of
The
Nuremberg.
Imperial Castle, and we didn't get tickets for that, so that was free.
Yeah, no, you can
Yeah,
I mean,
that
you
was
can pay to
you could
walk into the castle. You can also pay to go to Der Tiefe Brunnen, which is like the deep well, and they'll do a demonstration of how I think it's like 59 meters deep, which is very deep, and they'll like, put water in it, and then you listen for how long it takes for the water to hit the bottom, and that was 113 steps up, and we were like, "Do we wanna do this?"
yeah, because with the kids, it was hot, and once again, like, it was, like, the little,
Yeah, the
like
tiny little
because,
stairwell.
I mean, I think the castle was built in, like, the 1300s, something like it started, so or maybe even earlier than that.
You read the sign, I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
forgot. It was
But
old. It was
it's
old.
beautiful up there. You get a nice view. There's a cafe up there. We sat, we had breakfast, we had cake. Um, you could have a beer up there, an Aperol, some ice cream. Like it's nice. You should go. It's also right like you're walking down like in the main downtown area where like the Glockenspiel is, and then you
You gotta
go
explain
straight.
to them what that is.
The Glockenspiel is like a bell performance from the church, but there's like little
Like the
characters.
clock,
The clock,
like a
yeah.
bell tower.
Yeah, at the bell tower, there's like characters that come out of the clock and like do a little thing, and you can look it up online. But we have a Glockenspiel. I think Munich's Glockenspiel is actually much nicer, and I wanted the kids to see it when we went to Munich, but it was torrentially pouring down rain, which was such a bummer. So we didn't do that. But you can do the Glockenspiel. It happens at noon um, every day, and it's like in the center of downtown, and then you literally just walk up to the castle. So
Yeah, and
walk up to the
once
castle.
again, the public transportation there, easy to navigate,
Yeah,
very affordable.
subways, buses, very affordable. We also went to the History Museum of
Yeah.
Toys, um, which really we were just trying to get out of the heat.
Yeah, it was one of our friends from Poland were there with their kids, and we had already the previous day, we'd gone to the public
Yes, the
pool,
public pool.
which was an experience in of itself.
Yes, Brandon's never been to a pool like that. So it's like multiple pool spaces. They've got like one really big kind of swim lane pool. Then they've got one pool that has like the diving boards that go up to like 10 meters high. Then they have like the pool with like the big water slides. And then they have more of the like kiddie pool area. But
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, you
packed.
could tell I'm a suburban kid who grew up with a pool in his backyard
Yeah.
because
Hashtag
I'd never
spoiled.
been to a public pool where there were so many people.
Well, and it was so hot, right? So that everybody was like, this is the only thing we can literally do. But I will say again, as we
It was
took,
still very nice.
it was
Yes.
very nice. And so like, you could have a schnitzel and a beer there, like
That was the interesting thing. They serve alcohol there.
they serve alcohol in glass.
Yeah, I was also very interested about the glass part because everyone here in the US knows that you're not allowed to have glass around your pools. And like you talk to people there, they're like, "We're just not idiots.
Yeah.
Don't go into the water with your glass."
He was like, what? They're going to hand me the bottle? And I was like, are you going to drop it in the pool? Like, or are you going to be okay? So it was hilarious. It reminded me of when one of our friends spent a month in Slovenia and had sent a picture because in the town square, like in the evening one day, they basically did like a cocktail party. And she sent a picture and she was like, oh my gosh, I just got my cocktail in a glass in the middle of downtown. Like, where would you ever get a glass? And it's like,
Yeah.
who wants to drink a nice cocktail out of a plastic solo cup? Like, not me.
I feel like I
So
had like
American.
a Radler and like a 40.
Yeah.
And
So
for those who don't know what a Radler is, it's like a light beer mixed with like lemonade, which is
it's like a
delicious.
shandy. Yeah, it's so delicious. And the funny thing is, in most of Europe, the one of the big differences is when you're at a restaurant, they don't just give you water. Like you don't sit down and you don't get a big glass of water.
You got to pay for it.
So if you want water, you have to order it. They'll ask you still or sparkling, how big of a bottle of water, and then you're paying for it. Well, in most places, and let's just stick with Germany, you're going to spend €6 on a bottle of water and you're going to spend 4.50 on a Radler. So guess what we're drinking with dinner? Not the water. Same thing with like, an Aperol. Like you can, in lots of places, you can get like an Aperol spritz for €6 or €7 when a bottle of water is going to cost you that. So like, it's not a cheap thing. And so most of the time you just end up drinking a beer or wine or something like that because it's so expensive to drink water.
But everything else is reasonably priced.
Yeah.
As far as like when we're getting groceries and eating out, I would
Yeah.
say it was pretty reasonable. And
And if you're not eating out in the middle of like the heart of downtown,
correct,
then it's going to be reasonable.
because
If
you can
you're
get away from
in
the tourist area.
Yeah, if you're in a tourist area, they're obviously going to
Jack
charge
the
you
price up a
more.
little bit more.
Yeah. But back to the pool, it was an experience because it was so hot and it was like everybody and their mom was there and it was packed.
Yes.
But the kids had a great time. They loved the water slides and it was fun. But so then the next day it felt even hotter.
It was hotter, I believe, the next day.
And
So that's
we
why
were
we did the
just
toy
like,
museum.
we got to get out of the sun. Like we were all just so beat from just walking around and being in the sun. And so we went to das Spielzeugmuseum, which is like the toy museum, but it's really about the history
Yes.
of toys. So there was like, for example, there's one room where Brandon was like, I'm not going in there because it was like all the creepy old dolls.
Yeah, it's like all creepy, like old Annabelle dolls. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. And then they had like old doll houses. They had like the Game Boy and the Atari and like all those kinds of things. They had
Yeah.
it kind of sectioned off by like trains and automobiles and then like, dolls and playhouses.
Also, like some time period kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so
had
like
like all the history of like the spin top even.
yeah, so like
It's pretty cool.
yeah,
And it
like,
was air conditioned.
it was a nice little room where like they had like a Super Nintendo set up. So I
Oh,
was
yeah.
playing Super Mario Brothers, I think 2 or 3 with Roman on there.
Yeah. But again, it was air conditioned. They had a cute little cafe outside. I will say, so I think for the Children's Museum, I think the kids got in free. And I think we together was like maybe €15. The pool, they had like a family ticket. So going to the pool was €12.40 for the whole family. Again, going up to the castle is completely free. If you wanted to go into the castle and then do the deep well, I think it was maybe €12 for an adult. So again, very affordable to actually
Yeah.
like do things.
And then like the food at the pool was affordable too. Like I've been to other pools
Yeah.
where like the food wasn't as good and they charge you more.
Yeah, and even like the alcohol was the same
Yeah,
price,
it
right?
was
It
the
was
same
like
price.
$4.50 for a
Yeah, they
radler,
didn't. And I mean, like, and it was like
the bottle.
like a 40 ounce basically.
Yeah, so which is nice, right? It's like, okay, you get to actually go and do things and you don't have to spend an arm and a leg. Because in our very first episode where we announced, hey, we're going to Europe for the summer and we're going to be doing our summer rewind, like I was kind of recapping how much tickets were for certain things. And if we went to one of our museums here in Durham as a family of 4, it's $100 to get
Yeah.
in. So it's those things. Or like when I took Roman to Monster Jam,
Oh
the
yeah,
parking
it was like 40 or 50.
was $45,
Yeah.
and that was buying it ahead of time. It was that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, this is getting out of control.
Yeah.
Like going to the movies. When we went to the movies in Charleston, our 2 tickets just for the movies, we ordered them online to Devil Wears Prada 2 was $39.98, wasn't it? It was right under
It was
$40.
right at 40.
So for 2
basically,
people
right
to
under
go to a
40.
movie,
And this
and
wasn't like the fancy movie theater with the
the
reclining
seats didn't
chairs.
even recline.
It was like a regular movie theater.
Yeah, but that wasn't with drinks, that wasn't with popcorn, that wasn't with anything. And so it really does feel like we're getting so out of touch with like what things should cost, and how do, regular families do anything
Yeah.
here? I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
It's tough.
even I saw something recently about, how parents who are like, "Oh, my son's on the football team or on whatever," and it's like now I have to pay for the program, I have to pay for the uniform, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for that, and I have to pay to go see him every Friday night, and
Yeah.
it's like, or our friends that have kids in gymnastics or dance, it's like, oh, I have to spend $15 to go and watch my kid perform when I'm already spending thousands of dollars a year. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, I thought that part was crazy about the dancing. I was like, now I have to pay to get into the
yeah,
recital after I'm
and the
already paying for them to
And the
dance?
gymnastics, like, you should at least get a parent ticket. I mean, it's crazy. And then we were talking to my cousin in Germany who, when we were talking about how much it costs for, like, Roman to do soccer or Aston to take sewing lessons, and she was saying that for the whole year for her family to join a club, it's, like, under $250 or
It
euro.
was $200 for
Euro.
or €200. I think it was for the family. I don't even
For
think it
the
was the
family.
individuals.
No,
It's
no, no,
200
for
for
the year.
€200 for the year, and they have access to everything that is offered there. So
And it's, like,
gymnastics,
volunteer-led, but, like,
yeah.
gymnastics and tennis and track
The
and
soccer that we
field, the
paid for is
soccer.
volunteer led.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
true
we're
too.
like I said, we paid this upcoming season for Roman that's going to be starting soon. I think I paid like $175
And
because
what is it, like
and
8 weeks,
I'm the one
9
coaching the
weeks?
team.
Right.
So this one is still volunteer led because I'm not getting paid.
It's just getting crazy. It just really feels like to do basic things, to take your kids to the movies, to take them to the zoo, to take them to a museum, like, it just feels like why does it cost so much?
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm over the cost of everything being so extreme here, and, like, clearly there are ways to do it differently.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we went to 4 different countries. I don't feel like during Barcelona, Paris, we'll leave Disney out, Amsterdam or Germany, I don't feel like we missed out on anything that we wanted to do because we were like, "Ooh, that cost is a little too high."
No, like
Right?
if we decided not to do something, it was purely off the basis of us not wanting to do it, or we were
Because
just
we
tired
really
or
had
hot.
something we almost every single day of every country, we had something to do, or we were meeting somebody, or we had a ticket to do something.
Yeah.
We tried not to do more than, like, one official thing a day, but, like, we did all the things we wanted to do.
Yeah, the only thing that was like, "Oh, I don't think the cost makes it is worth it," was at FC Barcelona to pay the
Seeing the
additional 80
stadium.
or €90 to get in to see the actual field.
Right. And then even, like, at the castle in Germany, we just didn't wanna walk up the
Yeah,
113 steps.
it wasn't the
I was
price.
like, because our daughter had counted the steps to get up to our apartment, and it was, like, 64, and I was like, "We're gonna be almost doubling that. Like, do we wanna do that today?" And the kids were like, "Nah, we're good." So if the kids are not, on board, it's like you're not gonna force them to walk up 113
It's not
steps
gonna be a
and then have to
pleasurable
come
experience.
down, and no, oh my gosh, especially not in the heat.
No.
So, all in all, like, Germany was fantastic. I'm so glad that I was able to bring the kids. I'm so glad that they got to meet so many of our friends and family and do some really, like, nostalgic things. And I know it sounds simple, but, like, even Aston eating, it's called, like, drei im Weckle, which is, like, 3 little sausages in a roll. Like, you can go anywhere downtown and order that from, like, a little sausage booth, and I will say that has gotten more expensive, they're now 4.50. They used to be, like, €3. Um, but for her to, like, grab one and actually like it, and if you have kids and you know how picky they are, like, that's significant in and of itself because 'cause you're like, "What am I gonna feed my kids every day?" But to be able to, like, buy my kid something that I used to eat as a kid and her be like, "Oh my gosh, I love this," and then she really had one, like, every day. Or us eating Döner and me, like, explaining to Brandon, like, "No, you really have to kind of eat them all over town because 'cause they're all a little different and they have different sauces and, like, you think they're all created equal, but they're not." Like, even that, and then, you having Durna and being like, "Oh, this is great." Like, yes, of course it's great. It's Durna. So even those little things are they're so nostalgic, and that was so special. And I'm not gonna say, like, Germany was my favorite part of the trip because I really loved Paris. I really loved Barcelona. I loved seeing our friend in Amsterdam, but it was just different because
Yeah,
it was so special.
because we finally got to experience where you grew up.
Yeah. And then even,
Because
like,
I'd never been to Germany before. Well, none of us, myself and the kids had never been to Germany. I'd only been there for like layovers, which doesn't really count. So
right. And even then, right, like, just remembering that you can go to a park in a foreign country and, like, that's a free activity and your kids will probably have a great
Oh
time.
yeah, we went to a
And
park one evening,
yeah,
and
that's us.
Roman started playing soccer with some kids.
And he was like, "Are you gonna be here tomorrow?" And we were like, "Oh, we have dinner plans." And so it was but
It's cute.
it gave me hope of like, okay, if we did move here, like, we just need to hang out at the park and meet
Yeah,
some parents and be like, "Okay, can we come back to the park this weekend?" And,
I mean, and
you
even
know?
taking it back, bringing this up, when we were in Paris, we were at a random park and sparked up a conversation
Oh,
with
yeah.
the
Yep.
same sex couple. That
Mhm.
the one man was from the U.S. but like had gone to college
20
there and
years ago,
just
and
stayed.
he was like, "Why would I ever leave here?"
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Well, and that was a super cute park with, like, the
Yes.
big sail pirate ship or whatever. Yeah, so, like, find parks wherever you're traveling, especially if you're in Europe, 'cause there's some really great parks, and just, like, let that be the afternoon activity.
Yeah.
Find the parks, and that way, your kids can find somebody to play with,
'Cause the
and
same thing happened when we were in Barcelona.
yeah,
Out of the park, and the little kid was like, "You wanna play?" And then we were playing for a little bit, and he's like, "We gotta go now." It's like, "You're gonna be back tomorrow?" Or
right.
I think that's what he said. He was speaking Spanish, so we're
Oh.
but in my mind, that's what it felt like.
Yes, like, he was like, "Come back tomorrow." I know, it's just those interactions really, I think, kind of warmed my heart to be like, "Okay, this we could do this,"
Yeah.
like, we would be okay. So,
I never had any doubt, only because in the sense of you grew up, overseas. I would say for an American especially, I did a decent amount of
yeah,
traveling at a young age. So I think we're flexible in the sense of being able to do that anyways.
right. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to start having some conversations around what does that look like. We obviously are homeowners. We have 2 cars. Like there are logistics that we would have to take
Oh
care
yeah.
of. This is not going to be an overnight decision. We would obviously want to look at international schools and things like that as well, and then really figure out like besides the cost of living, is this something that we would want to do and like how will it affect our family.
Yeah.
So but stay tuned, the adventures continue. I think it was money well spent, and I have no regrets. I think the kids absolutely had the best summer ever. They learned a lot, which I think is also great and notable. Like, they learned so much about different cultures, different countries, and different people and how people live, and heard different languages. And
Getting used to the traveling part of actually traveling, because this
yeah,
was the longest flight that they'd been on.
yes.
Especially when we came home, it was almost a 10-hour flight.
Yes,
So
that was a lot. And then because we use points and miles, we flew from Munich into Charlotte. So we still then had another 3-hour drive home in a rental car, which was a lot. Like that day was long, but they did it. Now we know they can. We only had one little breakdown with our son who was getting a little hangry on the plane.
he turns
Um,
into a demon when he gets angry.
that's a little extreme. But yeah,
But
he
is it?
he did break down. I mean, yeah, listen, they're
He's
still
6.
kids. It's not perfect, but it was absolutely more good than
Oh,
not,
definitely. Yeah.
and money well spent.
Most of the time for most trips, especially when it comes to all of us going together, especially in places we maybe haven't been, we're more than likely we're not going to, regret doing it, because like
No.
it's an experience in so many different aspects.
Yeah. And it was so again, $5,300 for our accommodations. Flights were points and miles, so we only paid the taxes, which let's just say
5,300 was for
for
all,
our portion.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the
And
countries.
all the countries. And then we probably spent less than $1,000 in total for all flights for the taxes. And then we took about right under 800 euros in cash. We did not come back with very much cash. And then I don't know what we spent on our cards, but whatever it wasn't excessive. It was really just on food and drinks at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and even our kids had been earning some money for souvenirs and things. And then my uncle gave the kids money. My godmother gave the kids money. Like, so they got to buy the things that they wanted. And so we didn't spend a lot of money on things for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, we spent some money getting ready for the trip. Like Brandon and I bought ourselves new book bags, and we bought like rain jackets for the
I think my
kids.
book
And
bag, I think the book bags were like 40, $45.
yeah, yeah.
Nothing
So
crazy.
nothing crazy, but if you're interested in any of the Airbnb links, let me know. If you have any questions about the book bags that we used or like any other travel kind of recommendations, like just reach out.
I did buy, well, we both bought, but like I bought a new pair of like running shoes because I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have a really good pair of running shoes. So if you're gonna go on a trip like
Walking.
that, to walk, make sure you have a good pair of
Yeah.
comfortable
And we
shoes.
bought new shoes for the kids and let them break them in like a week early and, little things like that I do think made a difference. But we were pretty conservative when it came to what we bought there, and not in a way of like, oh, we're trying to like hoard our money, but just like if we didn't need it, we didn't buy it, and if we
Yeah.
wanted it, we bought it.
Yeah, because the biggest thing was like if I could get it at home and it was gonna be around the same price, I don't need to buy it there.
Yeah, because then you're just schlepping it
Yeah.
around too. So, anyways, I can't believe we pulled it off. The spreadsheet, my 4-tab spreadsheet was like
You
the
planned the trip.
MVP.
That was all, you were the MVP of that because
Well,
I was not a part of planning any of this. Being
he
honest.
just was the passenger princess who carried all the luggage.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. If you want the list of where we stayed and the links and what we did and what we recommend, just reach out. We're happy to send you any of our information.
Just as a wealth of knowledge when it comes to trip planning, I always say like this could be a career for her. She's like, I don't want to do it for anybody else other than our family.
If I'm not going on the trip, I'm not doing it. Nope. I've actually had other people reach out recently on social media to be like, this is your calling. Like, you should do this. And I'm like, I only want to do this for my family. I do not want to do this for anybody else. So,
I've never been on a trip with Jess where I was like, ugh. Also, at that point, I couldn't even say it if it was true.
well, yeah.
If I want to say
I
married.
mean, I will say, like, I like nice accommodations. And, there were certain things like we needed a washer in every place because we did, again, the
that
clothes.
saved us because half the clothes we couldn't wear because it was too hot.
Yeah. So we were really wearing the same 5 things on repeat, and so we were, as a family, the washing machines are so much smaller in Europe. So we were really doing a load of laundry every day at that point. And then if you don't have a dryer, which we didn't in most places, then you're hang drying the clothes. So you have to give it a day or two for them to dry. So we were just really cycling through, so towards the end, you
Rinse
can
and
see
repeat.
we're just wearing the same
Yeah,
clothes in
that's
all
why
the
I had the
pictures.
same clothes on in all the and like in the same outfit on in a lot of the pictures is because we didn't have a lot of options.
We didn't. Yeah, it was too hot. The heat wave took over, and we had just a few things to wear that needed to just be washed and hung over and over again. So, but we made it through. I think it was great. The kids had a great summer. And I'm already kind of like, ooh, could we do this again next summer? And could we do like Greece and Croatia and Italy and Slovenia or, Turkey, or like there's just places where I'm like, I could do this again. So we'll keep you posted. We'll see. I think if we end up moving to Europe, then those could be just easy weekend trips too,
Very much.
for even less money, which is very important to us. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out, and hopefully you have enjoyed our little mini series of Europe. And yeah, we will talk to you again next week. Don't forget, Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. You just got paid. Until next time.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We are so glad to have you as part of our Sugar Daddy community. If you learned something today, please remember to subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with your friends, family, and extended network. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at the Sugar Daddy Podcast. You can also email us your questions you want us to answer for our Pass the Sugar segments at thesugardaddypodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail through our Instagram.
Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based upon your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a licensed professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information you find in our podcast and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise.